Hey! Welcome to Golden Speakers on this snowy and chilly and blowing evening. It is, what else? It's winter, and it's, what's the date? February 4th, 2014. I'm Sergeant of Arms, bumbling my way through the opening of another meeting of Golden Speakers Toastmasters. Please join me in warmly welcoming our club president, Rhonda Whitaker.
Yay!
Greetings, everyone. I think you're all part Eskimo tonight. We are having a blizzard. I don't know if you noticed or not. You're probably wondering what we're doing here. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and viewers at home. We share the same club mission as every other Toastmasters club in the world. We provide a supportive and positive learning environment in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills. This builds self-confidence and creates personal growth. Yay! I would like to recognize one of our members who has achieved an award. I'd like to ask Mr. Thomas Trainer to come up front, please.
Woo!
In honor of your contribution to our club, you have earned Advanced Communicator Gold. We thank you for your efforts and we applaud you for your accomplishments. Thank you. Now, I would like to turn this meeting over to our Toastmaster of the evening, Mr. Will Burns. Please
Yo!
help
All
me
right, go
welcome-
Will!
Thank you, Rhonda. Welcome, Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home. I'll first start by calling on our role players, starting with Monty Congdon.
Honored guests, fellow Toastmasters, thanks for coming out tonight. As we all know, there is a storm howling outside. I am the meeting's timer. Now at Toastmasters, we are here to promote growth in communication and speech. And we love spontaneity, we love being creative. At the same time, we also do all of this within a structure. And in order to maintain that structure, you need a timer. Everything is timed. And my job as a timer is to keep track of that time. Table topics, which we're going to get to here shortly, are 1 to 2 minute speeches. The green light is turned on at 1 minute. The yellow light is turned on at 1 minute and 30 seconds. The red light is turned on at 2 minutes, and it remains on until the end of the speech. Prepared speeches. We have 2 of them tonight. We have, first up will be Alex and then Syria. Both of their speeches are going to be 5 to 7 minutes. The green light is turned on at 5 minutes, the yellow light at 6, and the red light is turned on at 7 and remains on until the end of the speech. Evaluations, we have a couple of those too, are 3 minutes, generally 3 minutes. Except tonight, our table topics evaluator will have more time to evaluate. Table topics, the green light will come on for the evaluator at 4, the yellow light at 4:30, and the red light at 5. Regular evaluators are given 3 minutes. The green light will turn on at 2 minutes, the yellow light will turn on at 2:30, and the red light will turn on at 3. Thank you.
Now I will call upon our counter, our president, Rhonda Whitaker.
Thank you. My role tonight as our counter is to count your filler words. Words like like, you know, so, but, and, tongue click. Pause, if a pause is too long. Xerox when you repeat yourself, when you repeat yourself, when you repeat yourself, and fault starts. I will give a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Next call upon our grammarian, Dan Craig.
Yo!
My first job as grammarian is to give you the word of the day. Today it's exquisite. Beautifully made or designed of great delicacy or beauty. And an example would be the audience was enthralled by the exquisite performance of classical music. My other job is to listen to the language as it's used during the meeting and make note of any colorful or beautiful phrases that are used, and also to notice if there's any incorrect use of grammar that could use some feedback. And I'll give a report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Dan. Finally, our general evaluator is Art Atkinson, and we'll hear from him later on towards the end of our meeting. Now it's my pleasure to call up our table topics master, Mr. Jody Raj Adhikari.
Yo!
Fellow Toastmasters, guests and viewers at home. Table topic is impromptu speaking, where anybody can participate. You need not be a member to participate in table topics. We'll provide you 2 minutes to speak on a topic. You can choose, or sometimes I provide you, the table topic master provides. You can speak from the topic we provide, or the subject I provide, rather I say, or you can speak from theme of today, or if you are not comfortable with theme of today, or what I provide, you are free to speak on what you know about whatever you want. So that's it. But it's better to speak on the subject or theme so that the meeting will have the fruit of the theme. So our theme tonight is champions. So I have made up, I will say, some of the topic where you can choose from it and speak on it. So I would want first any volunteer who want to speak first. Yes, please.
All right.
So I have 5 subjects, topics, points, which you want to choose. 1 to 5. 1. Okay, the 1 is, are you afraid of losing? If not, why? If yes, then also why?
Thank you. Am I afraid of losing? Probably the most important topic that I can come up with is soccer. When I was in high school, my first season playing soccer, we lost every game. It was terrible. A little background why that was so terrible for me. I was doing gymnastics and we won almost every game. And so it was kind of a different experience to be a part of a team that loses most of the time. But by the end of the season, I realized it was great. It was a great experience to have something different. And so the whole opportunity of having, an experience of losing is important, because you gain the ability to expand your knowledge of this dualistic reality that we're living. And this life that is so abundant is full of surprises and uniqueness and details. And those colors really represents the opportunities that we have of growing deep within ourselves and also in expressing our true potential. And that really sheds light to this idea of losing, because losing isn't really true. You don't lose. You never lose, actually. What you do get is you get an opportunity to see in different aspects of yourself. And so losing can be a winning in a different sense. So by allowing your deep awareness to expand, especially if you practice transcendental meditation, you can gain more deep knowledge about any topic, any subject or experience in life. That being losing, which is not, any difficult or an issue, or winning, and you can enjoy and appreciate it for what it is. So the biggest opportunity that I guess I learned from losing is that I get to see a part of myself I didn't know, or I didn't discover. I didn't have, I guess, a deep knowing because I was so excited to be a part of this. And there you go.
Anybody?
Everybody.
12.
Right. Which one did you pick again?
1.
Okay.
One. I'll go 2.
2. Is champion afraid of losing? If yes, how can he win?
Can you repeat the question?
Is champion afraid of losing? A champion, any champion is afraid of losing. Is he or she afraid of losing? If he is a C, how can he or she win? Because the theme here
Is
is
champions.
yeah,
Got it. Okay. Fellow Toastmasters, honored and distinguished guests, and viewers at home. My childhood was spent mostly as an individual, doing individual things, hanging out with my friends, but never really part of any team events, except for 1 year when I joined a Little League. I was on the Rockwell Collins Little League team. And like our previous speaker, we didn't win too many games. I think we may have won 2, one against Mount Pleasant and one against Easter's, which is now Econo Foods. So, looking back on that, I don't have any strong memories about the experience. I remember being out there in the field. I don't remember thinking like a champion. I don't remember thinking about winning, thinking about taking it. And I didn't really take it that badly when we lost. Well, I think that we all can kind of understand that feeling. Without the championship mindset, because, let me back up here, I'm sorry. We basically were part of a team that was composed of people our age, and we had a number of very prominent people. Most of us were just there to have a good time, throw the ball, get out there, get some air, be part of a team, do this whole baseball thing. There were a handful of players, 2 players, that were really good. They had the heart of champions. But they were pulled for the higher leagues. They were on our team, and they were pulled because they actually had the right stuff to make it for the bigger leagues, the minor majors, if you will. They had the heart. We didn't. But I would argue that we both got something out of this experience.
Is that Steve? Who raised the hand? Who raised the hand second? I saw 2 hands. Steve? Is that Steve or Jeff?
It wasn't me.
Steve.
I'll give it a try.
Okay. 3, 4, and 5. You can choose from 1 and 2 either, but 3, 4, 5 are left now, and 1 and 2.
Okay, I'll try 3.
3. Do you know anybody who is very afraid of losing? What solution do you want to give him or her? How to overcome it, in your opinion? Any of you
Overcome the fear of losing?
losing?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I think everybody's afraid of losing at some point in a competitive situation, or even not a necessarily competitive situation, a performance. Any kind of situation where you really want to achieve a goal, but you don't know for sure that you can or that you will. So everybody has had that experience, yes? How many have had that experience? Not only practically everyone, but every single person, and you too. So, what's the best strategy for dealing with this? Well, I once heard a very wise master say, don't think about it. It's as simple as that. If you're focused on what you're doing, you don't have time to think about whether you're going to win or lose. You're just enjoying the moment. Really, you're just enjoying how good you're performing. You just sat there witnessing, watching yourself. For all the practice that you've done, for all of the learning that you have absorbed from all the different sources that you may have absorbed it from. And you see yourself doing this exquisite performance, whether it's throwing a frisbee well, or anything. Talking your mother into learning TM. Talking your children into going to school. Yeah. Actually, I did a really good job of that recently. And what helped was really thinking about what I was going to say before I said it, which is not what I'm doing so much now. But at the time, see, she was texting me, so I could think about it, and like for an hour, or maybe overnight, and wait for that inspiration, that poetic, clear understanding of, yes, what she needs to hear. And what you need to hear is the sound of silence.
Okay, Art,
Go.
you are the next. Four and five.
4.
Do you think you can win without defeating somebody? If yes, tell me how.
Good evening, Toastmasters, viewers at home. Do I think I can win without defeating someone? Depends on the context. I have a lifelong habit of being disinterested in major league sports. And I had the good fortune to listen to an inspirational talk within the past week about Coach Phil Jackson of the Chicago Bulls and the LA Lakers, and the technique that he had for winning championships. And it blew me away with the wisdom that was there. And if I were to guess what Phil Jackson would say in answer to this question, he would say, absolutely it's possible to win without defeating someone else. The whole tradition of Eastern martial arts, for example, is to honor the skill of the opponent. And it may turn out in a match that one is declared the victor, but the quality of his victory is dependent upon the skill of his opponent, which he surpasses. So he achieves a new level of skill He wins by virtue of the skill level of the opponent, and the degree of his success is dependent on the skill of the opponent. Super Bowl, 2 days ago, I didn't watch it. The reports were it wasn't even a game. It was a slaughter from the word go. And everybody comes away from that kind of a contest disappointed. Everybody lost. I mean, somebody looked good, somebody technically won. Is it possible for me to win and not defeat someone else? I believe that Phil Jackson was onto something. I believe that the Eastern martial arts tradition is onto something. Phil Jackson's philosophy for how to win, his phrase was, one breath, one mind. He had his teams meditate together in total opposite philosophy to what the rest of the leagues and the coaches were doing. Weld them into one mind, and then they would go out in the court and enjoy themselves and perform in the moment and win championships. Mr. Tabletop Expert.
Still have time for one more? Okay.
Sure, why not?
Yep.
Yes,
For one more.
yes.
Yeah, for one more we have time. So left with 5. Enjoy 5. What do you think? Is it a desire, a dream, or a vision that makes things possible? Or you think, is it the effort that you put on it to achieve something? Is it a desire, dream, or a vision, or the effort that you put? Or you work, the quantity and quality of work you put on something to achieve? Which one you think is the most important to achieve something?
Thank you. Good evening, fellow members, viewers at home, and guests. Are you a guest?
Yes.
You're a great guest. Welcome. It's an exquisite situation to be back here after a while. And I really like being here and listening to all you guys. Is that an effort? No, I don't think it's an effort. I just really like to come and listen to you guys. Is it a dream? Well, there's something about a dream behind it. I always wanted to go and, not always wanted to go, but I kind of like to go and talk to people. And I could do that at one point. But then when I had to switch a country, a culture, a language, that became an obstacle. I wasn't able to say what I wanted to say because nobody would hear what I was trying to say. They would hear something else. So there was an effort behind the dream to do something, like to get up right now and talk to you guys. So there's a combination of effort and dream now. And what was the third thing?
The vision, dream,
A dream, vision, okay.
desire.
Right. So, desire, or a dream, or a vision, is there any difference in that? I mean, do you see a difference?
Yeah.
You see a difference? Well, I think it's a man-made difference. I don't think there's really a difference in all these things. We live in a flow. And then people try to break down the flow so we can understand. We're becoming engineers, including myself. But luckily I'm a recovering engineer. So I can see beyond the logic. So effort, for me, it's just living your dream. Or living your, a real good effort. Or living your desire. Or, I probably have to take notes. So desire, dream, vision. Well, I'm not really good in visualization, so probably that's why I forget that. So, I don't see a difference there. People that see, that's fine. They usually have a different haircuts now. So, is it a dream or a vision? Who cares? I think as long as you enjoy your effort, everything turns out to be fine. Thank you very much.
I'd like to call Mr. Toastmaster to continue the meeting.
Thank you, Joe T. Now, let us vote, but first let's ask, Monty, did all of our speakers qualify?
For table topics, the speakers who qualified were Nelson, Will, Steve, and Slobodan.
Toastmasters, guests, welcome back. Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce our table topics evaluator, Cindy Tran.
Yo! Oh, whoa, I wish this was a little bit larger and covered more of me. Anyway, on to the most important part, the evaluation. Our theme tonight was champions, and I congratulate Jyoti Raj for doing an excellent job on picking topics that were open-ended, allowed people to expound upon the theme. Thank you very much, Jyoti. You did a great job with your questions. Nelson was our first speaker this evening. Are you afraid of losing was his question. I like that you had good eye contact. You did really well for coming up here, maybe the second time that you've been up front, perhaps? Good eye contact, and you had good gestures. You told a personal story, which is always a wonderful thing to do for a table topics question. And you looked really relaxed up here. If you were nervous, it didn't show. At least I didn't see anything that would indicate that you had, felt nervous. My suggestion would be to come out from behind the lectern, get closer to the audience. We don't bite. And then we can get more out of your speech. We get more contact with the speakers up here. Will, you asked for a repeat of the question, and that's a good idea, because then that gives the speaker more time to think. And you also used your 30 seconds, so you really packed in a whole bunch of time for yourself to plan your talk. I liked your gestures. And you told a personal story. I'd like to see you practice with eye contact. One person, one thought. Perhaps use a whole sentence to one person, and then move somewhere else. It appeared, from my position anyway, that you were doing a lot of scanning. You were touching people briefly, but if you really want to connect with your audience, really deliver it to them. Really look right in their eyes and give them one thought at a time. You don't have to cover everybody, but if you look maybe in the center, and then it seems like everybody else feels like you really looked at them also. And you don't have to apologize. If a person stumbles up here verbally and then wants to make another point, just go make the other point. We probably as an audience won't even realize that you reconsidered, so you don't have to apologize. And I liked your punchline for the ending. Stephen, how to overcome fear of losing? I liked your eye contact. You came right out front. You were close to your audience. And you really involved us, your audience, because you asked us a question. You got people raising their hands. Really feels, I get a more feeling of being included and upfront personal with the speaker when they involve the audience like that. Good vocal variety. You were speaking mediumly, but then you got soft. So I like that in use of your vocal variety. And good gestures. But I'd like to see you use more of the stage. I've been standing here rooted. What I could have done is that each person I could use a different part of the stage. I could talk probably over here because Nelson's on this side of the room. I could talk to Nelson. Then I could come over here for Will. And then Steve, I could come to the center for you because you're more or less in the center. I'm going to come over here and talk to Art now. because art's on this side of the room. You just plan like 1 point, 1 point, another point. And then that gives you a full range of using the stage and gets you closer to your audience. Art, can you win without defeating someone? I like that you used your 30 seconds to consider about it, and then you came out and you gave examples. And I'm not a sports person either, so if I don't write down the person's name that you talked about right away, it's gone out of my head. But I liked your vocal variety, but I'd like to see you also come out from behind the lectern and use more of the stage. You gave good examples of your points. You had facts to back up your points about how you can win without defeating another team or another person. And you had good vocal variety. You got louder at one point and you got a little softer. I know I'm going to go overtime with this one. Slobodan. Is it desire, dream, or reason to make things possible? You used your 30 seconds for thought. You used the stage. But I'd like to see you again kind of divide the stage up a little bit, like give a 1 point in one's position, give another point. If you're going to go back to your first point, come back to where you were, where you gave your first point. I didn't have any suggestions for you, and I like the stories. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cindy. We finished with our table topics, and now on to the prepared speeches. We'll start by introducing Karen Aoki to introduce Surya Z. Yo!
Welcome to our guests and greetings, fellow Toastmasters. Surya Zeeb is our first speaker tonight. He grew up in Germany in the Netherlands. He came to Fairfield to study at Marsh University Management. First he earned his bachelor's degree and then his MBA. And now he teaches at the bachelor's and the master's level. He consults on matters of internet marketing and works as a graphic and web designer. He has a great passion for a lot of things, including singing and outdoor sports. Tonight he will give his third speech. The project is Get to the Point. The title is A Vision for the Future. The objectives for project number 3 are to select a topic and to determine general and specific purposes, to organize a speech to best achieve the purposes, ensure that there is a beginning, body, and conclusion, to reinforce purposes, and to project sincerity, conviction, and to control nervousness. He will strive not to use notes. I'd like to call up Surya.
Not nervous. Sometimes neighbors have hate towards each other and disregard each other because the media clouds their minds with prejudice. Sometimes we have kids creating or building toys for other children to play with. Sometimes there are millions of people that lose loved ones because of wars. Sometimes there are people that treat living beings as commodities and just look away because they learned to do so. Sometimes there are millions of people dying because of preventable diseases. There's still today a continent that's in poverty. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and viewers at home, I'm sure you're all aware of this. And these elements obviously don't make us very happy in life. These are problems in humanity and on our planet. But I think, well, and I think it's important to be aware of these. But at the same time, I also believe that it's important for us to create a vision of what the world should look like. Take that hike up the mountain sometime and hear the noises fade out from the city, and all the craziness of the city disappear and become smaller and more insignificant. Let your mind take you into the future and come up with solutions and step away from all that, what's usually taking you away from seeing solutions. I have experienced and I believe that we can create our own reality if we are guided by a vision, if somehow our choices that we make are guided by a vision. So I suggest that we sometimes step back and create perhaps a world vision board. So what I'd like to do today is to take that time and actually maybe create a little bit of something like that. So if everybody please close their eyes, apart from the gentleman behind the camera, my evaluator, and the timer, I'll take you on a little journey. Imagine yourself waking up in the future. You feel excited and you're looking forward to this day. A little bit later, you step outside, you breathe the air. What does the air smell like? Breathe in that air. What does the area look like? What kind of neighborhood do you live in? Then you decide to take your preferred mode of transportation, whatever that might be, take that to the city. Think about that mode of transportation. What is it like? How are you getting to the city? And in the city, you walk around the streets, you see the people interacting. How are they interacting? How are they talking to each other? How are their facial expressions? Then, well, you remember that you actually have to go vote because today is election day. So you go to the place where you vote and you vote for your candidate. What is your candidate like? What qualities does that person have and what does he or she stand for? What is the party like? Is that person associated with a party at all? Once you voted, you take your preferred mode of transportation back home. You spend some quality time with your family. Beautiful family. And then at one point you decided to turn on the TV. You watch the news. What's on the news? What are the issues that humanity is facing? And what are the achievements that we are celebrating? How are human beings treating each other across the planet? How are we interacting? After you've enjoyed watching that and spending some more quality time with your family, you go to sleep feeling fulfilled and excited about the next day. You may open your eyes again. I hope you enjoyed that and found that somewhat valuable. And maybe it inspired you to maybe in the future take some more time and step away from the craziness that maybe life might appear to you. And come up with a world vision board. Because a vision really would be a great step towards actually making a positive change in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Surya, for taking us from our frantic present to an exquisite future. Take 2 minutes to evaluate the speaker. Welcome back. And now, for our second speech, please join me in warmly welcoming Jeff Shipley, who will evaluate Alex Sakaya.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, honored distinguished guests, viewers at home, it is my distinct pleasure tonight to introduce Alex Sakaya. Alex will be giving speech number 1 in the Humorously Speaking Manual, which is Warm Up Your Audience. For those who don't know Alex, he's the co-owner of Mango Life Media, is that correct? Publisher of iPhone Life magazine, and I just learned he's also beginning Android Life magazine. So he's a greedy entrepreneur. He's trying to corner the whole smartphone market there. No offense. Today he's going to talk about the importance of taking risks. His talk is titled, Let's Make Some Bad Decisions, which is a topic that resonates quite a bit with me, so I'm very excited to welcome, and please give Alex a warm welcome up here, Alex Sakaya. Sakaya.
Thank you so much, Jeff. There's a quote by an anonymous author. It goes, "Good decisions come from experience, but experience comes from bad decisions." Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home, I'm here today to encourage you to make some bad decisions and take some risks. You're all here tonight, and there's a blizzard going on outside, so I know you're no stranger to making some potentially bad decisions. When I was 16 years old, I was listening to a lot of punk music, and I myself wanted to be a punk. So I decided that I wanted to dye my hair red. So I went to the store, I bought myself some red hair dye, came back, I put it on my head, I did everything you're supposed to, and I looked in the mirror and it looked the same. The red blended with the black, and it was completely dark red that you could barely tell. You could barely tell it was there. So I thought, well, if that's what happens when you blend red and black, I guess what I need to do is go back to the store and try orange. Because if I blend orange and black, I'll probably end up with a darkish orange closer to the red that I want. So I did. I got the hair product, put it on my head, I did the whole thing, then I unveiled it to myself, and I had created this exquisite explosion of orangey red madness. It looked like a Skittles factory had exploded on my head. Okay? And I looked in the mirror, and it was a bad decision, and it was a risk, but I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was great. Now, I was a little worried about what my dad was going to think. It was just me and him living together. And that day he came home from work, and I very confidently came downstairs and just strolled with my orangey red hair, kind of watching for his reaction. And I just remember he just kind of looked and went, huh. And kept walking. And I just imagine what went through his head. He was probably like, well, at least he's not drinking and doing drugs. If he wants to make his head look like the playground at McDonald's, that's fine. I'm cool with that. Now, it was the summer, so I was out of school. I knew that if it looked bad, I wasn't going to have to endure going to school with this craziness. It was just the summer. So I had this orangey red hair for the whole summer. And what happens is that every summer when I was 16, it was just me and my dad living together, and the rest of my family was in Venezuela. So every summer I would fly back and visit them. So the date that I was supposed to fly back kind of snuck up on me, and I didn't remember that I was supposed to fly to Venezuela the next day. I realized the night before that I needed to fly to Venezuela. And I had this orangey red hair. Now I knew that if I flew to Venezuela with orangey red hair, my mom's going to be very happy to see me, and then she would kindly escort me to the ticket counter to buy a plane ticket so I could go back. So the night before I leave, I have hair clippers, and I said, well, I got to get rid of this thing. And I just went and shaved my entire head. Another bad decision, another risk. But I loved it. It looked great. I was like, hey, I kind of like my hair shaved. That was the first time I shaved my head. I arrived in Venezuela, I had my shaved head. My family, oh my God, your head shaved. No big deal, no problem. Now, I have 2 younger brothers. I was 16 at this time. My younger brothers were 6 and 2 years old. The thing about being an older brother is that your brothers look up to you figuratively and literally. So I arrived, and my 2 younger brothers are looking at my shaved head. And one day, while I'm in Venezuela, we're alone in the house, and the 6-year-old comes in while I'm shaving. Every few days I was shaving my head because I wanted to keep it shaved. The 6-year-old walks in and he goes, I want to get in on that action. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Have a seat. So he sits down, and I did what any responsible 16-year-old would have done. I shaved his head. So I shave his head completely. As I'm done shaving his head, the 2-year-old walks in. Now the 2-year-old walks in and he sees his 2 older brothers with their heads shaved. And he goes, wait a minute, I don't want to be excluded from this incredible event that is happening here. He had very impressive vocabulary. And so he's like, I want to get in on that. And I'm like, well, have a seat. So he sits down, and I start shaving his head. Now, the thing about shaving a 2-year-old kid's head is that they don't really like to sit still for very long. And that turned out to be a problem. Because I'm halfway through shaving his head when he's had enough. He's done. I was not done, but he was done. And he was just crying, and no, I don't want any more, I'm done. Literally half his head is shaved. Okay, I'm halfway done. Okay? And I said, no, you don't understand. Listen, you're not even making memories now, okay? You're 2, all right? If I have half your head shaved and my parents come in, you're going to have half your brothers left, okay? This half is going to be gone, all right? So we have to finish. So somehow I finished shaving his head, and all 3 of us have our head shaved. My parents come home, they go, oh my God, what just happened? But they were totally cool about it. They just laughed, and they took tons of pictures, and now it's a story that they tell at family gatherings. So it was another risk, bad decision, but hey, I got some experience out of it. So my message to you tonight is, let's make some bad decisions. Take some risks, push your boundaries, because good decisions come from experience, but experience comes from bad decisions, oftentimes. Now, you'll be happy to know that I'm still taking risks in my personal life, in my work life, even in my choice of hairstyle. And I hope that you will too.
Take 2 minutes to evaluate our last speaker. It's now time to vote for the best speaker. Mr. Timer, both of our speakers qualified.
Siri and Alex both qualified.
Thank you. Please vote for Alex or Siri. It's time for feedback, and to do that, we have our general evaluator, Art Atkinson.
Yo!
Thank you, Will. Toastmasters, thank you for that enthusiastic reception. My role is to let the evaluators do their work. First, let's hear from Karen Aoki. evaluating Surya Zeeb's talk. Karen?
Yo!
Surya, congratulations on completing your third project. There were some exquisite moments, and then there were some areas for suggestion. There's two areas that I will evaluate upon. One is the structure of your speech, and the other one is delivery. So let's start with delivery. You came out, and then you took a step back right in the middle of your introductory statement. And so that kind of weakened your position. And I felt like your tone actually weakened at that point too. So one thing to focus on for the next thing is to come out front and maintain your position. And I was even told early on to kind of lean into the audience or stand on the tips of your feet. And it actually is a great technique. It gives this space to breathe. And it gives you something to kind of do so you don't feel at a loss for what to do with your feet. So that covers the second point. There was a lot of pacing, which gave the air of nervousness. Because otherwise, your tone relaxed during the course of the speech and you became much more self-assured, but your feet kind of gave you away because they were pacing and moving around a lot. So those are the two things for delivery. As far as content, a lot of wonderful techniques that you used. For example, you engaged the audience. I think there were some moments where you actually asked us questions or had us think about things. You had a great opening where you had some things to think about. It was like a good action step where you gave us scenarios of tragic events, and then you contrasted that with a really positive vision. So I like the use of those action steps and then contrast. The second thing was about structure. You used a guided meditation or vision technique. That was another interesting strategy to put in. It broke up the speech, gave a variety of things. I would say for the next time, and this will just come with practice, create more of a sense of flow so that the whole thing feels like a package. I didn't feel like I was quite ready for the end when you finished with the meditation or the guided vision. I felt like there should have been a little fuller ending to balance out with this huge long body. So a little more attention to structure and pacing. That's what I would have to offer.
Thank you, Karen. Now, if we could have Jeff for evaluating Alex's talk.
Thank you, General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, honor distinguished guests, especially Alex. So Alex spoke about let's make some bad decisions. The purpose of his talk was to essentially prepare a speech that begins with a humorous story and then relate the speech topic, an appropriate topic, to his audience and relate it back to his personal experience. Just on face, I mean, Alex did an outstanding job. I heard lots of laughter from everyone in the audience. I was laughing. He had me completely enthralled in his story. And I think one of the things that really got me, so I was almost like I couldn't look away, he had my complete attention. He was out here, he was using the stage in a very deliberate fashion, and then his gestures were just very appropriate, and he had that warm smile on his face pretty much the whole time. And yeah, I'd have to watch it again to go back through all the appropriate gestures, but when he was, pretending to be his father, he was over here, crossed his arms in a, more paternalistic fashion, and so it was really, I think it was the enthusiasm of the delivery, the gestures, and then that very warm, welcoming facial expression really drew in the audience and was pretty perfect in my opinion. So yeah, the story was personal to him. He opened, the opening was very relevant to the speech topic, that good decisions come from experience and experience comes from bad decisions, and then he introduced or welcomed the audience and then related that fantastically into his speech. That was what it was all about, taking risks and bad decisions and how that leads to great experiences. The story was appropriate for the audience. The story was very amusing. As I said, I was laughing. I heard lots of laughter from everyone else in the audience. And again, the story attracted and kept attention. I think that's one of the importance of the humor and the speaking humorously, is if you can get your audience to laugh, I mean, you can pretty much get them to do anything. So it's a hard thing to master. This is an advanced manual that we're getting into. It's not easy getting up here and delivering something confidently that you know is going to be funny, that's going to get the reaction you want from the audience. And again, I mean, it was all about the delivery. The delivery is very dynamic. You had lots of variety, and then the appropriate gestures, again, underscored everything. Now I'm asked to offer some tips for improvement, which I don't necessarily feel qualified to do in this case, but I'll try anyway. One of the, I guess, funnier moments in your speech is when the 2-year-old, wanted to get on the action. He said this was incredible or something. He said he had a very advanced vocabulary for his age. That provoked the laughter. So I thought maybe we could give the 2-year-old more dialogue. I don't know, it could have been a possible idea, because that could have been a catchy character. And then also, overall, you improved the speech. While the tone in your pitch was very upbeat and encouraging, and warm, I thought maybe you could have thrown in some somber, melancholy, softer tones to provide a contrast. Like when your mother is oh, if I come see my mother with my dyed hair, she's going to send me back on a plane to the States. She was going to send me back on a plane to the States. I don't know. I thought maybe that could have provided contrast, so it's not, I guess that maybe then that would help accentuate the other more exciting dynamic delivery of your talk. So anyway, thank you very much for the speech. I really enjoyed hearing it, and I hope you complete this manual, because for the benefit of the club, we enjoy laughing.
Well done, Jeff. Thank you. Now I'd like to give us a couple of minutes to vote for the best evaluator, and we have 3. We have Cindy Trainer, who evaluated table topics.
Did they qualify?
Who qualified?
Let's see.
Out of our 3 evaluators, 2 qualified, Karen and Jeff.
Oh.
We have 2 qualified evaluators, Karen and Jeff. Go for it. Welcome back, Toastmasters. Thank you for voting. Now I would like to call on our role players for their quick reports. First, we'll begin with the timer, Monty, for the timer's report.
Timer's report for this evening. Table topics first. We had 5 table topics talkers. First was Nelson at 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Next was Will at 2 minutes 9 seconds. Stephen was at 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Art clocked in at 2 minutes and 37 seconds. And Slobodan, you had 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Our speeches, Syria, you spoke for 6 minutes and 20 seconds. And Alex, you spoke for 6 minutes and 55 seconds. Table topics evaluator, Cindy, you spoke for 5 minutes and 48 seconds. Karen Aoki, you spoke for 3 minutes and 2 seconds. And Mr. Jeff Shipley, 3 minutes and 25 seconds.
Thank you, Monty. Now, if we could have Rhonda give us the counters report.
Monty was clean. Will. Oh.
Let's all give her an
Will had 2 ands, 2 lip smacks, 2 Xeroxes, and 2 false starts. Tom was clean. Dan was clean. Jody had 1 3 so's, 2 Xeroxes, 1 false start. There may have been more, but I couldn't quite hear what you were saying. You were speaking softly. Nelson had 1 2 so's, 4 ands, 1 lip smack. Stephen had 1 so, 3 ands, and 1 Xerox. Oh boy, oh boy. Art had 1 so, 5 ands. Slobodan, 4 so's, 1 but, 3 ands, 1 Xeroxed, 1 false start. Cindy had 1 so, 2 buts, 6 ands, Her favorite thing was and then, and then, and then. One lip smack. Karen, 5 ands, 3 lip smacks. Surya, 3 so's, 1 butt. 13 ands. You also used and then, and then, and then. As a filler, that seemed to be a favorite duo. There were 9 Xeroxes, 1 false start. Jeff had 1 word that he repeated that I decided is a filler word for many people, and that's now. Now, now, to get people's attention, or but. Jeff had 1 1 like. His favorite filler was, I don't know, I guess. He repeated that a couple times. There were 3 so's, 5 and again and again and again. There's like the and gets another adder in there. 3 Xeroxes. Alex had 5 nows, 13 so's, 4 buts, 10 ands, 1 Xerox, 1 false start. Thank you, that's my report.
Do we have a greeter joke master? I do not believe we have one. Moving right on to my brief comment.
Yeah, sorry.
You got a
I
grammarian.
apologize.
Joke master. Joke master.
Apologize, our grammarian Dan.
Let's go there.
Hey, Dan has to give his report first.
Are you prepared as joke master?
Yes, I am. but
Okay,
do you-
then we will call on you.
What's we're gonna do with the grammarian? No.
We had a good use of the word of the day. I heard exquisite from Alex, Slobodan, Stephen, Will, and Karen. Maybe I missed somebody. A few phrases really stuck out for me. I didn't quite get it fully, but Art was saying something like, it may turn out in a match that one is declared a victor. I didn't get the whole thought, but it was quite an interesting picture. Slobodan said, when I had to switch a country, a culture, a language. That's always really nice to see those triplets like that. They really grabbed my attention anyway. He also termed himself a recovering engineer.
I thought I heard that. That was
Excellent.
Surya said, take a hike up the mountain sometime and let all the noises disappear. That's a very striking picture. And finally, I had Alex saying, it looked like a Skittles factory had exploded on my head. Thank you.
regale us.
You are, okay. A disciple wanted very much to follow a famous master. And so the master said to him, I will give you wisdom. Listen to me. Do not walk behind me, for I may not lead. Do not walk in front of me, or I may not follow. Do not walk beside me, for the path is narrow. Actually, just buzz off and get lost. I don't want to be bothered today.
Now for the evaluator's brief comments. We had 3 experienced evaluators with good evaluations. Cindy, Karen, and Alex all offered cogent observations of what was done well. Cindy, of 5 people, Nelson, Will, Steve, myself, and Slobodan, she had specific observations about what each of them did well. She had a suggestion for everyone but Slobodan. And it was different observations and different suggestions for almost every person. Karen gave one of her patented deep observation evaluations. both on the content and structure of Surya's talk, as well as the delivery methods. She spoke about the tentativeness that he communicated by an involuntary step back. She spoke about the giveaway nervous foot habits. So it was very detailed observation. And she spoke about what could be done to further clarify the structure and have it balanced so that the guided vision and the conclusion were in balance with the long list of negative observations that he brought up to begin with the contrast. Jeff honed right in on the purpose of Alex's talk and the technique of using a personal story and the excellent humor. He noted the really skillful use of gestures for the various characters, the father, the mother, the 2-year-old, the other brother. He noted the warm smile. He noted the way the gestures. He picked up all these really excellent execution delivery skills that Alex demonstrated, as well as just the reaction that we were all having. You know, there was pretty regular laughter. He had 2 specific suggestions, some more dialogue for the 2-year-old, and a change of vocal variety for vocal variety contrast, introduce something somber. So each one of these evaluators was doing what provides most of the impetus in this club for improvement, and that is making the Oreo sandwich. Something great was done. Here's some suggestions about what could be done better, and they were great evaluations. And I'm done, and I will call on our Toastmaster to return.
Thank you, Art. I have returned. Now for the meeting awards. Best table topics. Stephen Harper. Hey, best speaker. Alex Sakea. Finally, best evaluator, Jeff Shepard. Yeah. And Surya, for speech number 3. Yeah. We've survived, despite bad decisions, despite an exquisite, enthralling performance. And now let me call up our president, Rhonda Whitaker. Yo!
Thank you for guiding the meeting. Toastmaster Will, thank you for keeping us on time. We're actually going to get out a few minutes early tonight. Closing comments. I sent people a few links about Robert's Rules. I'm learning Robert's Rules for the first time. Will knows Robert's Rules, and I think Monty does too, and does Art, and probably Tom and Cindy.
I'm just faking it. Because I love something else.
Well, nonetheless, you did well. Kept your mouth shut. I would like to say I want to acknowledge that we had an incredible event last week and ask who was here for that event.
Woo!
Everyone, slow it down. You missed the best event.
Missed it.
It was so awesome. Go and watch the FPAC YouTube. Now, I'd like people to read through Robert's Rules because at business meetings we are going to ratify a few things with Robert's Rules. And it's actually a good thing to know these things if you're going to be in groups, if you're going to be in leadership. You'll want to understand what Robert's Rules is about. It's very simple. There are different categories. Once you've read it through a couple of times and imagined a couple of scenarios, it starts to sink in. Thanks. I'm going to close. I move that we adjourn the meeting early tonight. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes. See how easy that was? We are adjourning till next week. Same time, same place. Thank you. Good night.